So this is a story that changed me, and I think I witnessed a miracle. I am a medical professional, and I do believe in science and facts and certainty, but this one story did have me questioning everything and made me believe in miracles and possibly supernatural things. I don't know what to think of it. So here is the miracle part of the story. I was doing a late admission years ago on hospice where I entered into the home. The patient was arriving from the hospital. It was late. To be very honest, I was a little annoyed, not at the patient obviously, but just at work that I had to work late. And, I was hoping this would not take very long until I saw the patient, and I saw that she was young and she was actively dying, which means dying within a few hours to a few days. And to me, the way she looked, I thought that night. So I thought she had a few hours left. So of course, I'm doing everything I can for this patient and then her family, which were her children. Her children were in their mid-20s, and I could tell that they had no idea what was happening because they were asking me questions like, when is my mom going to wake up? When can we get her physical therapy? How are we going to feed her? Things like they weren't understanding that she was going to die and she was going to die soon. So how did I know that she was going to die and going to die soon? She was had changes in skin color. So she looked cyanotic, which basically means blue. Her lips were blue, her skin coloring was blue, which is not a bad thing. That's a normal thing at the end of life. But what was bad about it is that obviously her family didn't know what was going on. She had changes in breathing. So changes in breathing is like one of the last things I see when someone's about to die. She had terminal secretions, which is that death rattle I always talk about. So gurgling with every breath. She was fully unconscious. To me, she looked so close to death that I kind of wanted to just stay at the house because I thought she was going to die any minute. So once I got her settled and looking, she never looked like she was uncomfortable. She always looked very peaceful. But once I got her settled at home, I took the kids aside and started explaining to them what was really happening, letting them know that their mom was very close to end of life, probably going to die that night. Here is why I think that, explaining everything that I just explained to you about her coloring, her changes in breathing, how she sounded, what she looked like, and asked them if there was anyone else they needed to call or to have come over to help support them. So of course they took the information so graciously, and they were calling family to get people over there. And I sort of just hung out, kind of waiting for her to die, thinking she was going to be dying definitely that night, probably before I left. And after about an hour or so, she was still alive, and I knew I had to be getting home. So I just told the children to, be with her, be with the family. She looks really comfortable. I explained everything, when to call us once she died, and that we would come back out and help them with the death certificate and all the different mortuary things. So they thanked me, and I left. And of course I went home thinking about the family and thinking about her, and just, I just felt for them. It was very sudden. They were not really prepared. And I was just hoping that she would have a peaceful death. So in the morning, I woke up and I looked at my phone to see who went to go do the death visit, because usually the family will call and the nurse will go out and do what we call a death visit. And I didn't see the email. So I thought, oh, well, that's strange. I guess either they forgot to do the email or I don't know what happened. So I called the office and asked them, who went out to go see so-and-so. They likely died last night. And they were like, oh, we didn't get any death calls. So I thought, oh, that's weird. So I thought maybe the kids didn't call, or I literally never for 1 millisecond thought she didn't die. Like the way she looked, and I'd been a nurse for many years by this point, the way she looked, I'd never seen someone come back from that. There's no way you could come back from that and be awake and alert and oriented, because your brain was not oxygenating. You can't live with that. So anyway, I called the family to ask what happened and see how they were doing, and just see how the night went. And the son answered and was really happy and was like, oh, hey, yeah, the night went great. Mom woke up this morning. She said she was hungry. She's in the kitchen eating pancakes. And my jaw dropped. I didn't want to act completely surprised, just because I don't know. I'm just trying to be there for the family, right? So I'm thinking, what the hell? This can't be real. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, mom's awake, said she was hungry. She's in the kitchen eating pancakes. And I hear them like laughing in the kitchen. So I was just like, great. I'm gonna come over and see you guys. Cause I was thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, I can't believe this. And sure enough, I go over there and this woman is awake, alert, looking very much alive and eating and drinking and walking around. And to me, that is truly a miracle. There is like no medical way this woman could be looking how she looked last night and awake, and not only awake, but walking, talking, alert and oriented and eating. And that woman ended up living 3 more months very well. So walking, talking, eating, not having pain. She did eventually die on hospice from her disease. But to me, there still stands a miracle, because there's no way someone can be so close to death and then to come back from that and still be alert and oriented and able to like move and talk and walk and eat. That's my miracle story. I feel like I witnessed a miracle. If you made it this far in the video, there is a twist. But before I tell you what that twist is, I want to know what you think it is. So you tell me in the comments what you think. Okay, so here's the twist to the story. The part that I feel always shy to tell people, because it's not something I'm used to, or I don't even know if I think it's real, but I can just tell you from my experience and then witnessing this miracle, how I feel like it all ties in together. So that night, when I was with this family, I was settling in the patient, the one who was actively dying, and her kids were in the other room. I was in her room, I was settling her in the bed, she was unconscious, and I suddenly had a vision of, for lack of better words, like a being behind her bed. And what it felt and looked like was a big angel. Now, the angel to me is not like what we would think an angel would look like, or what I would typically think an angel would look like, with like wings and like small little fairy-like glowy angel. It was like this huge, solid being, is the best way I can describe it. Huge, like as big as a car, behind her bed, all the way to the ceiling, super, super solid and cream colored. So I can like really picture it even as I'm speaking right now. The best way I can describe it is like, if you grew up Catholic, there's like a Mother Mary statue that's kind of like stoic and like the head's like pointing down. And it was like that. It was definitely like a body or a being. And I think it actually did feel like it had wings, but the wings were behind it, like not opened. And the being or the angel in that moment felt like it was just there for her. Like the being knew I was there, but it didn't care. And it didn't actually feel super soft and loving. It felt powerful. Like this all was happening within milliseconds, just so you know. And the only way I could describe it is in hindsight. When it was happening in the moment, I brushed it off because I didn't know what was going on. And it only was until the next day when I saw her up and awake, and I was like, holy crap, I feel like I just witnessed a miracle. Did my brain go back to that night where I felt this being in the room? And it was a big, solid, powerful being that felt like it was there specifically for her, and it knew her very well. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was hers. This was her angel or her thing that was there to protect her and help her. Again, it's so crazy for me to even talk about this because it hasn't happened before and it hasn't happened since. But it was the one time I feel like I witnessed a miracle, and it was the one time that night before I left, I knew I had seen something in my mind's eye and I had felt something, but I quickly brushed it off, of course, because I'm a medical professional who believes in science and facts, and I don't really, I've never witnessed angelic things, right? But then after I came back that next morning and she was alert, oriented, awake, and lived for another 3 months and was eating pancakes and laughing with her kids, I thought, I think I know why. To me, that night in her room, it was like she had her own personal angel that was either healing her or protecting her or, you know, giving her more time. I don't know what the purpose of the angel was, but I know that the next day she was no longer actively dying and she lived for another 3 months. And again, the angel, for lack of better words, like I don't even know if we want to call it an angel. That's what I'm calling it. But it was like a being of solidness and power. And it wasn't scary at all. Like not one part of me was scared, but it just wasn't this like soft, frilly, fluffy thing that we would normally consider what angels would be like. It felt like this very solid, powerful thing that for whatever reason seemed to help her that night. So that's it, you guys. There it is. There it is. I know it sounds wild. I know it sounds crazy. I don't even know what to think about it, but I like to share these things because one, why not? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Have you witnessed anything like this? Is your experience with a being or angels like my experience? And if you don't have a story to share, just please read the comments. My comment section and videos like this are always so amazing. I cannot wait to read them myself. So if you don't have your own story, still check out the comments because I'm sure there's going to be some great ones in there. And again, don't forget to subscribe for more death and dying information.